results which nobody would have anticipated, because now we are micro-analyzing data from Punjab. First, let's take a look at the various groups and who they have voted for. Which party is the favored by Jat Sikhs in Punjab? Here you have the Congress at 22.45%, BJP at 3.7%, no surprises there. This is the big surprise. For Jat Sikhs to say that only 16.82% are voting for the Shiromani Akali Dal is unprecedented. Look at who the Jat Sikhs say they prefer in Punjab. 47.27%. Let me take it across to Tushar Gupta, senior editor of Swaraj. Tushar, your first comments on 47.27% of Jat Sikhs. Wasn't this supposed to be a prominent Akali vote bank? It's like saying that, you know, I don't know, that Brahmins en masse are going and voting for the BSP.
If I have to look at the numbers here, this is just a shocker. Akalis were supposed to have an undercurrent going forward in these elections. But what happened in 2017? AAP dented the Akalis. The numbers you are telling me right now is saying that Aam Aadmi Party is saying Akalis will no longer have the control on the Jat Sikh vote share. This is huge. Padmaja, in ups and downs, every time the Akali has lost, the Jat Sikh vote has been with them. The Jat Sikh vote has been constantly with them. I go back to 2002, 55%. I go back to 2007, 61%. I go back to 2012, 52%. Even in 2017, when the Akalis were routed in the state, 37% of the Jat Sikhs were still with the Akalis. And now, just 16%. What does this tell you? That if the Aam Aadmi Party is gaining in Punjab, gaining this big, they are denting into the Akali vote share. And a point here also to be noted, the Congress numbers, 22% Jat Sikhs with the Congress. That's where the Congress was in 2017. So it's the Akalis that is the Aam Aadmi Party really hurting.
Completely eroded. The Akalis there, decimated by the Aam Aadmi Party. Big shocker. I wonder if, you know, that entire controversy that it's going to be somebody from Haryana, Arvind Kejriwal is going to call the shots in Punjab. Clearly that hasn't had an effect. Bhagwant Mann has managed to get the Jat Sikh votes in. Now let's take a look at who the Mazhabi Sikhs are going to be voting for. Before I get you those numbers, quickly Tushar, tell me, what are Mazhabi Sikhs and how are they different from Jat Sikhs?
See, Dalits constitute 1/3 of the population in Punjab. Now, 1/3 is a huge number. In UP, we look at the OBCs and we say, oh, this is the population segment that is instrumental in forming the government. But in Punjab, they have always been without power. Now, of the 1/3 Dalits in Punjab, 1/3 further is the Dalit Sikhs.
Okay, so the 1/3 population are Dalits and a third of that is Mazhabi Sikhs. And who are they voting for? Now you would think that it's the Congress which gets the Mazhabi Sikhs because you've got Charanjit Singh Channi as the CM face. But 1/3 only are going for the Congress. That 1/3 is going for the Congress. But look who is getting the lion's share here yet again. 37.93% are again going for the Aam Aadmi Party. Mazhabi Sikhs, despite Mr. Channi, Tushar, are voting for the Aam Aadmi Party.
Now, look at the numbers here and compare them with what happened in 2017 when Aam Aadmi Party made its debut in Punjab. 20% of the Dalit Sikhs actually went with the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, what's happening this time? You have in 2017, you had 41% of the Dalit Sikh voters, which have historically favored Captain Amrinder Singh's Congress. This is one differential we'll have to remember. The Congress today is that of Charanjit Singh Channi, but the last 4 assembly elections was Captain Amrinder Singh. That time, the Dalit Sikhs favored the Congress. What is interesting about this graphic, Padmaja, is that when it comes to the Jat Sikhs, the Akalis have been swept away by the Aam Aadmi Party. But when it comes to the Dalit Sikhs, which have not historically been very fond of the Akalis, the Akalis are not very dented. It's the Congress which is. Yes. The Aam Aadmi Party is gaining from its 19% vote share in 2017.
Everyone is dented. Lot of dents being delivered there in Punjab. Let's go through the next 3 big groups. We're talking about the Ramdasias. Does it ring a bell? It should, because remember, the polling dates in Punjab were deferred because of the Ramdas Jayanti. A large number of people were traveling to Varanasi. Such is the power of the Ramdasias vote in Punjab. Who have they gone for? Very influential, large community. Here is some reason for the Congress to be happy. At least somewhere it's paid off for them. 39.94%, almost 40% of the Ramdasias have gone for the Congress, but the Aam Aadmi Party is not far behind, 37.64%, almost neck and neck for the Ramdasia vote. Let's take a look at the overall Dalit vote. This was the decider. This was the reason that the Akalis said we are going to go with the BSP. This was the reason that Navjot Singh Sidhu had to make way, not that gracefully, for Charanjit Singh Channi as the CM face because of a 32% huge Dalit vote in Punjab. And here finally again some relief for the Congress. 42.62% are going with the Congress. The Aam Aadmi Party again here a very close second with 35.82%. Everyone else here is not even worth a mention, barely touching double digits. Akalis just touching double digits, the rest relegated to single digits. And finally, this is the biggest shocker. But before I get you the biggest shocker, I want you to quickly go across to the rest of our guests. We are joined by Jasmine Sandwalia, spokesperson of the BJP in Punjab, and Ravi Srivastava, political analyst, along with Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress. Lokesh Jindal, clearly, even Mr. Channi hasn't managed to bring it home for you. What do you make of the fact that Ramdasyas or Dalits अभी भी large numbers में vote कर रहे हैं आम आदमी पार्टी को 35% plus?
Well, you have already delivered the verdict, it seems. But let me tell you, I don't know what was the mechanism on which this survey has been carried out. But then it's quite strange for me that Aam Aadmi Party, which tends to have its ideology based upon a middle class, you are trying to have a poll survey that is carried out on the basis of caste. And again, that you are giving the benefit of urbanization that has taken place in Punjab to Aam Aadmi Party.
You've hit the nail on the head because here may be the real message, sir, that for a state that has been plagued by so many problems, Ravi Srivastava, that finally an urban model of saying we'll give you electricity, jobs, schools, etc., they might just have hit on a winning formula. A Delhi model being replicated in Punjab seems to be paying dividends.
No, but then that's something too romantic to visualize it in that particular manner.
If you talk sometimes, sir, when people are in the depths of hopelessness, they look for a little romance even in their politics. Let Ravi Srivastava quickly come in.
Punjab still happens to be an agrarian.
Padmaja, in fact, what you have seen is that the Aam Aadmi Party, which repeatedly says that we do not believe in the politics of caste, religion and region and all that, they believe in performance, they believe in work, they believe in the education, health, infrastructure, women empowerment, and all those things which they have already. I would say that the one word which I used in the beginning, the Delhi model has clicked. And I believe that Delhi and Punjab are almost, very close to each other like sisters. People in Delhi, in fact, who are enjoying the fruits of Arvind Kejriwal's agenda of the education, health and all. So Punjab people are very impressed with that. And
let me quickly get in.
Above the caste line and all the three segments which you have mentioned.
Aam Aadmi Party has risen above caste. Tushar, do you agree?
Yeah. They have gone above that.
It would be, by the way, let me say on record, this would be a great model for any country, that development calls the shots and not caste. But are we being too romantic, as the Congress says? Tushar.
But I would want to wait for the numbers to come from Punjab tomorrow, because even I have a little difficulty believing that the first Dalit Sikh CM in Punjab had no impact on the ground. That's something I'm not willing to buy. Secondly, the Akalis, the way they're losing their ground in Punjab to the Aam Aadmi Party, for the events that transpired in the last 2 years with the farmer protests, with the Jat Sikh equation.
Haven't the Akalis been losing ground anyway? Even the Jat Sikhs, they have been losing ground.
Interestingly, in the 2019 elections, Harsimrat Kaur Badal herself barely made it through her home seat. So yes, the Akalis have been losing ground, but the events of the last 2 years, the way the caste fault lines came out in the open, we remember the events that transpired in Singhu. One would expect that the Akalis would be getting a better vote share than 2017, at least as they did in 2017.
Maybe people are just sick of it. And like I said, we are getting the final data set, which is going to be a huge shocker. Where is the Hindu vote in Punjab going? And this, even I find very hard to believe. You've got which is the favorite party of Hindus in Punjab, and the answer to that also is the Aam Aadmi Party. Overwhelmingly, the Hindu vote has gone to the Aam Aadmi Party at 39.21%, the Congress at 38.62%, the BJP a mere 4.73%. Nobody expected for them to sweep away the vote, but just 4.73%, Ms. Jasmine Sandavalia. Even Hindu vote you're not getting in Punjab. It's the Aam Aadmi Party. This is a message of change.
Well, I would like to say that all my life I've lived in Punjab, and I come from a Jat Sikh family, and I am a former journalist. And I want to say something very different. That is that the Punjabi cannot be really divided on caste lines. Since last 40 years or 30 years, we saw militancy. And Hindus and Sikhs in Punjab have learned to live in harmony. And BJP never tried to polarize. Never. The dictate to us in the party was very clear when Mr. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat came as in charge of Punjab election, that under no circumstances will be the card of religion played in Punjab by BJP.
Sure, ma'am. You're absolutely right in saying that all communities are living in harmony, because so far this data seems to suggest they are harmoniously deciding to unite behind one party. I'm taking a very quick break at this point.